What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest.
Very special?
You're very special. You're VIP.
It's been a while.
It has been a long time. So today we wanted to share how we met and then get into the proposal and then answer some of your guys' questions. So for those of you who have been watching my channel for a long time, you probably don't ever remember a time without Glen, because I'm pretty sure I've been making YouTube videos the entire time that we've been together. Today we are going to Newcastle, and I call it Newcastle, but everyone says Newcastle, right?
Yes.
Newcastle. This is my boyfriend, by the way. Say hi. You're driving across the bridge, but don't die. Let's go back all the way to 2008 when we first met. How do we even start this story? It's an epic saga of we never thought that we would ever be together and ended up together.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
It's like serendipitous, right?
Was it Silver Star Mountain?
Mm-hmm. In British Columbia. Yeah. And Glen and his uncle and his brother were on a ski snowboard trip. I was 17 years old, and I'm from Salmon Arm originally, which is like 45 minutes away from Silver Star. And my family had a house up at the ski hill, and they thought it would be best if I worked on weekends up at the ski hill rather than being left alone to my own devices in Salmon Arm. And so I'll never forget the day my mom came home and she's like, "Hey, I got you a job." And I'm like, "Thanks, Karen." No, I didn't. And like, she just comes back and she's like, "I got you a job up at the ski hill." And her selling point was that you'll be working with Australians, and I know you like Aussies.
Did that sell you?
Foreshadowing moment. She is not too happy that that happened. I mean, she is now. But like, as we were living in Australia, she probably wasn't so happy that she did that. Anyways, so I got a job that year working up at the bakery at Silver Star. So every weekend we would go up and I would work the one day and then ski the next day. And sometimes on the weekend, my friends would come up as well, and we decided to go out and go party and live the like ski bunny life, which was super fun because at 17, like, you're kind of unsupervised when you're at a ski hill, and we felt like adults, you know? Like, yeah. It was that very like freedom feeling. So anyway, we used to go to the hostel where all the action was, because that's where everybody would party. And one night we were at the hostel and we were having so much fun meeting people and having a few sneaky, cheeky drinks. And at the end of the night, as I was pretty much walking out the door, I passed Glen in the hallway, and he was wearing this light blue NoFX hoodie, which we have, because I thought I should finally show this darn hoodie. Turns out his ex-girlfriend actually purchased this for him, but...
One of my exes.
Totally random.
Thank you.
Thanks, appreciate it. But I noticed he was wearing this hoodie, and I said, "Hey, I really like your hoodie." And we got to talking, but my friends really wanted to go home, and I said, "You know what, like, if I find you again up at the ski hill, I'd love to continue our conversation." But we didn't really think about contacting each other, and like cell phones weren't like a major thing back then. That was true.
And I think I only just bought like a burner phone from Canada because there was no smartphones or whatever. It was
totally,
2008.
flip phones, right?
And like, I didn't even think, like, after you left, I'm like, wow, I probably should have got her number. And I'm like, oh well. Well, that's it.
Like, if it happens, it happens. If I see the person. It's a small ski hill too, right? Like, you usually will bump into the same people.
And I was just starting a job the next day. So I was like, yeah, I need to go to bed anyway.
And I'm just like, oh cool, well, I have to work tomorrow, so anyway, I'll see you when I see you. So I go to work the next morning, and I'm sitting in the corner, like, pressing paninis, hating life, and I hear this, "No way." And I turn around, and Glen was the brand new hire, wearing the same uniform as me. It was like the most, what? Moment? Like, we couldn't believe it that after our meeting last night or the night before that he ended up being that new hire. And so naturally, we couldn't stop talking because we didn't finish our conversation the night before, and we just wouldn't shut up, really.
Yeah, we're probably bad employees. Well, the owner of the store had to get duct tape and segregate a couple of areas, and like, you stay on that side and you stay on that side. And that didn't work.
No, not at all. Later that night, Glen made plans with me to go out to the local bar, and at that point he didn't know how old I was. The drinking age in Canada is 19, and obviously it's not that common for young people to be working up at the ski hill, so everyone just assumed that I was older. And so yeah, we went on our first date.
And you drank beer. That was the last time I've seen you drink beer.
The first and the last time that I've ever drank beer.
You're just pretending that you liked it?
I just wanted to impress him, and I didn't want it to be like, I didn't want to be the girl that was like, no, like, I don't drink that. I only drink like vodka soda. Like, I'm not that girl. I just really wanted it just to be like simple and easy. I didn't want anyone to like flag me for being too young, so I just wanted to fit in. Are we gonna talk about what happened next? If I could raise my eyebrows, I'd be giggity-giggitying right now. I feel like I've talked about this in previous videos, but I was not a promiscuous person by any means. I wasn't, but I knew. And I lost my virginity to Glen within 24 hours of meeting him. He was my one night stand that never left. After that happened, we kind of just casually saw each other over the next couple of weekends while I was up there. But then Glen inevitably had to go back home to Australia, and yeah, we just kind of said if one day in the future we were ever in the same place at the same time, like, we obviously really like each other and it feels like unfinished business, but how are you supposed to date somebody from Australia when you're 17 years old and he was, what, 20, 21 at the time?
Right, you were still in 20.
Yeah, I was in high school.
You were still in high school.
So yeah, we just decided we'd keep in touch, but we didn't put any pressure on it and just kind of let it be. And over the years, you dated somebody else, and I dated somebody else, and I actually moved in with that guy, and like, we just continued on with our lives.
And then there was just this one point where we were both single, and then how did I first start talking to you? What did you?
I think it was because the iPhone that had the FaceTime ability came up.
I'm like, what? It's like the Jetsons. You can call people, and so I'm like, do you want to just do this because it's cool? Like,
do you remember our first FaceTime?
Yeah, you kind of faced the roof. You didn't let me see you.
I made the
like,
roof
this is
pitch
the point
black.
of it. Let me see you.
I was too, like, I don't know if it wasn't embarrassed, but like I was just like shy, I guess. And like, I don't know, obviously with the time difference, like it was the middle of the night for me when we were talking, and I was like makeupless and like, I don't know, I was just, I was nervous. Like, this is somebody that I've always obviously had like underlying feelings for and like unfinished business. And you don't want to be like rat's nest hair in pajamas and like, hey Annie, you know?
But I was like, this kind of defeats the purpose. But I guess we'll talk, so we just ended up talking for like 4 hours.
Yeah, after that first conversation, we pretty much talked every single day via either text or FaceTime, or there was that Yak app.
Oh yeah.
Did anybody ever use that app?
It was like a walkie-talkie thing.
Yeah, it was like voice notes, basically, or like a voice note app.
Yeah.
And so we'd go back and forth and just talk like that. But yeah, after like almost 6 months of pretty much every single day talking, and like, I mean, like these conversations were like 5-6 hours long sometimes. Like, yeah, I remember being in my school program at Blanche McDonald, and I'd get home from school, eat dinner, and then basically call you and be on the phone until like 3 in the morning, and then go to school and do it all over again.
Right, and this happened for like maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I'm coming to Canada soon again with my uncle and my brother.
He did not say I'm coming to Canada soon with my uncle and brother. He said, hey, so I'm thinking about like maybe doing another trip to Canada. That's how he left it. In my mind, it was like, Prince Charming has chosen me. I don't know.
Well, it kind of was. Like I was, well, I mean, I already booked it before we started talking. Like I planned that like a year beforehand.
I thought that was really cute though. So anyway, I genuinely 100% thought like he was just coming for me. But then he's like, oh yeah, by the way, like my brother and my uncle are coming again. And I'm like, oh cool. Like I met them the time before. I don't remember if I met your uncle, but I definitely met your brother the time before.
Yeah.
But I just thought like, okay, like, well, the person that I'm really interested in is coming to Canada, like I gotta jump on this. I remember jumping in a cab to go and meet him at the airport, and remember I haven't seen him for 3 years at this point. And the whole way to the airport, I was talking to the cab driver, just this nervous babble of like, I haven't seen this guy in like 3 years, and I think I'm in love, but I don't know what he's like in real life because we've only talked on the phone. Like, do I kiss him? What do I do? Like, the poor cab driver was just like, shut up. No, like he's just like tuning me out. And so anyway, I got to the airport and I saw you standing out the front, and I said hello, and I immediately kissed him.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up.
Like, cool. I guess there's no games playing. It's just straight in there. Awesome.
But like you were delirious. Like he hadn't slept in however many hours. He doesn't sleep on flights.
No, I can't sleep on flights. I don't know how anyone sleeps on flights.
It was the middle of summer coming to the middle of winter in Canada. He's just been on a flight for the past like 24 hours, 36 hours door to door, whatever it is. Red eyes, and here I am like, I was dying inside. But anyway, so I met him at the airport, and then we both took a flight to Kelowna, where we live now, and then we drove up to Silver Star, and I stayed with him and his family for 3 or 4 days, maybe the weekend or something like that.
Right.
But like, okay, so in my mind, the conversations that we were having really were alluding to the fact that like, hey, like, now's the time. Like, we waited 3 years, but now is our time. He didn't have that understanding, I don't think. Did you?
What do you mean, like to jump in a
date,
relationship?
yeah.
Right, no, I didn't have that understanding. Like, I'd probably gotten out of a relationship maybe, what, 8
Before
months
me.
that? Yeah, a long time ago, but like I hadn't really been in the single world yet. I was just kind of like doing my thing.
He was being a fuckboy stringing me along, and I did not have any part of that. And I told him straight away, that ain't gonna happen.
No, I liked you and I was super excited to see you. I just didn't think about it on a relationship level where I was like, hey, I'm gonna jump straight into a relationship.
That's fair.
But you had that assumption, which is totally fine. We've been speaking every night.
Well,
for like
looking
4
back
hours.
now, like I'm sure you can probably understand like where I was
Totally.
probably coming from. Yeah. That weekend we basically had a lot of conversations that ended up being the last night that I was there. We stayed up the entire night and I completely sobbed my heart out, telling him how much I thought that we should make this work and like, let's try this and I'm willing to be all in and please date me. And like, I begged him to date me and he's like, I don't know, it's maybe not a good idea. I don't know. I wouldn't take no. Like, I'm embarrassed at how like...
No, you wouldn't. It went for like maybe a couple of hours.
Hours.
And I'm just like, yeah, long distance seems kind of scary. Like, holy crap, that's pretty far away.
But yeah, like from my perspective though, like here I am freshly 20 years old or how, yeah, I guess freshly 20. And I had already been telling like friends and family like, oh, my friend from Australia that I've been talking to every single day that like they've seen me text you, they've seen me call you. Like it just felt like I needed something to come of that or else I just felt like, well, what were we doing, you know?
I apologize for being
God, honey.
for being super clueless in that area.
You were a boy. You were a young boy. Like, what else are you gonna be? I get it.
Well, I'm happy how everything worked out.
But I always think it's so funny, like, sometimes I read comments or messages of people being like, oh, like, Glen's so lucky to have you, and I'm like, I'm so lucky to have him. I begged for this.
I think we're both pretty lucky.
So then after that, you stayed for what? A couple of months?
Yeah, 2 months. I went to Whistler and...
Wait, hold still.
Did a season there.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then you were in...
I was in school still,
in Vancouver.
And so I was bussing out on the weekends to go and meet him and his family at whatever ski hill they traveled to, because they were just doing like a tour of all the local hills.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and I just jump on the Greyhound back when Greyhound was a thing. Yeah. And I met them. And I think that that's where I kind of started introducing you guys to Glen in videos. And then we were long distance from basically that spring of, what was it, like 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah, that spring 2011 until just after I graduated my program at the end of summer. So I graduated in, I think it was August, and then I packed up my apartment and within 2 weeks I had moved back to my parents' house, and at that point we were like, well, I don't have anything in Canada keeping me, and he had a full-time good job in Australia and a house, and it just made sense that I would pack up and go move over there.
Your parents weren't very happy about that one.
Not at all. Full blown, and like, it wasn't that my parents didn't like Glen, they just didn't really know him at that point. And obviously when your 20-year-old daughter is just like, hi, like I'm moving to Australia with this strange man,
strange
like,
guy.
Cool, like,
what does he do for work?
I don't know. And like, I truly, like, I didn't really know that much about your life because we didn't really, I don't know, we didn't talk about that kind of stuff. Like, we talked about everything but, I feel. Everything but the important things.
Right, and didn't I buy you a ticket? Because your parents were like, yeah, you can't afford to go there. You're still young.
And they honestly, they thought that like the lack of money would stop me. Oh, were they wrong. So yeah, you bought my ticket, which I was super grateful for. Australia had this rule where you needed to, I don't know if they still have it, but you had to have a certain amount of money in your bank account in order to buy a one-way ticket, just so that like you wouldn't get stuck in the country. Yeah. Do you remember that? And your dad, didn't he transfer me money and I took a picture of that in my bank account and then I transferred the money back just so that it looked like I had money in my bank account so that like customs wouldn't stop me? It didn't end up mattering at all, but like we took the precaution. Your dad didn't even know me. Do you know how like blessed and lucky I felt? Like,
that's my dad though. Dad, can you do this? All right. Okay.
He's a sweetheart. But yeah, like anyway, it was just so funny because my parents are super lovely and progressive and supportive, and I'm so grateful, but for whatever reason, they were just really nervous about me moving to Australia. And remember, I'd never been to Australia at this point. My whole life, I always wanted to visit Australia. And like, I did school projects on like loving Australia and like, one day I'll marry an Australian.
She actually did.
I foreshadowed all of this. It's really weird. But yeah, so I jumped on a flight and Glen picked me up in Sydney with my 3 hockey bags and my suitcase.
Which was crazy because like usually when people date, like they date for a while, then eventually they're like, hey, I'm liking where this is going. Maybe we should move in together. But it was like, we hadn't seen each other for 6 months and then just
full on.
Bam! Straight in, moved in.
He walks me to his car and I'm just like, what did I do? Oh no.
Did you freak out?
A little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't mean to be like materialistic, but like,
back to the airport.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't have done that. But then he drove me to Lake Munmora, which is, I don't know, an hour and a half from Sydney if you get good traffic. And I just remember thinking like, in my head when I was moving to Australia, it was like, oh yeah, like I'll move there and I'll get an internship in fashion in Sydney and like, it'll be easy. And all of a sudden we're driving into the middle of fucking whoop whoop, like the middle of nowhere. And I'm just like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, I probably should have warned you about that. I live in a small beach town with like 4,000 people.
Where everyone knows everyone's business.
Right.
Like, yeah, I was not expecting that.
Did you think you were going to the city?
I thought we were going to the outskirts of the city because he works in the city, right? And he's always like, yeah, I'm down in Sydney and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. You really did not represent that.
I didn't know how to communicate back then. I'm just like, yep.
Cool.
This is what we're doing. Good luck.
We were dating for probably a year by the time that we did the boyfriend tag video that you guys would have seen. And we filmed that. It's a terrible video of ours. It's terrible quality, it's terrible content, and it almost, like it has a lot of views, which is really embarrassing. But I'd probably lived in Australia for 6 months at that point. Hey,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the last time that we've ever really told our story or talked about our relationship in that way. So I think it's really fun to finally get this like on video and have a chat about it. But yeah, since then, obviously we've done a lot with our life. In the past almost 9 years, we've lived in 2 countries.
In about 6 different houses? Six?
Owned 2 of them.
Jesus.
We got a dog.
The best dog.
The best dog in the world. I don't know, I think she finally moved. She was like, this isn't about me, fuck you then. What else have we done?
Back in Australia, I worked for IBM, and occasionally I got sent on work trips to New Zealand.
Hello, Auckland. I'm hoping we can go get some food, but it's like midnight here.
Glen loves plain food. He loves all plain food.
We are going to actually get actual food. And
nope.
Yep. Nope.
Put my shoes on.
Ow! Let's go.
Did you know you have to press a button before you do? I did not bring an umbrella.
Go get an umbrella!
On the weekends, we'd rent a car and we'd drive just random places. We went to Hobbiton.
That was so much fun. That was one of my favorite trips we've ever done. We've been twice to Hobbiton. You know me, Lord of the Rings fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love New Zealand and we had so much fun and we brought you guys along on a lot of those trips back over on my vlog channel.
But, you know, just casually at Bilbo Baggins' house. Are you strictly here on party business?
Always.
Please.
Creeping on Karissa.
Creeping on Karissa. Let me know if you guys remember those vlogs. But yeah, we did trips to Byron Bay in Australia.
Wake up by the beach. This weekend soon a memory.
We did some trips to Melbourne. We did trips to
Paradise.
Perth and Surfers Paradise. We have traveled a lot together.
Yeah, we have. And we went to Alberta, right?
Yeah.
We just kept driving.
Went to the
Such a nice
Banff
drive.
and the Rockies, and that was so much fun. That was one of my favorite trips with you.
Yeah, that was cool.
We also did the Playboy Mansion, which was really an experience. I brought Glen for Halloween because I had already been for a different event previously, and we did like a big US trip, and we've done multiple snowboarding trips together.
Yeah.
Gone overseas together. We went to Bali together for our friend's wedding in 2017.
Yeah. Thailand. And I got chicken pox. Jesus.
Glen was the sickest you could pretty much be.
I thought I was gonna die.
They put him in quarantine in the hospital because they didn't know what was wrong with him. It was horrible. And That was right before we were about to go back to Canada. We had to fully like get different tickets for you, do you remember? And your dad was visiting, and so
Right.
his dad ended up going to Canada not at the same time as
Right.
us, and he hung
Because I
out with my
wasn't allowed
parents.
on a plane,
Yeah.
so chicken pox.
And his dad basically went to Canada and hung out with
Yeah.
my family for a few days before we were actually able to go and join them. I think one of the hardest things that we had to deal with stress-wise was moving back to Canada though.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you don't realize how much stuff you have until you move overseas.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, I'll just pack a couple of bags and move overseas. And then we called the company that comes in and takes everything in your house that you want to bring and chucks it into a box. And like, how many boxes do you think we'll need? And they were like, these massive boxes, right? So I'm like, I don't know, 15, 20. It ended up being 76 when they got there. And the
They
movies
were
were
so mad.
Yeah, I was super mad at
Oh
us.
my god.
Like, you said it was only 15. I'm like, sorry.
But like, how are we supposed to know? Like,
Right.
realistically, I was 25, you were 28. We're kids moving across the world trying to like make
Yeah.
this happen in the midst of a very stressful situation.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
did it, and we made it. We moved back to Canada in 2016.
It's getting a little bit packed in here. Oh my god. I don't even know how I'm gonna unload all of these. Like, it's literally filled up the entire beauty room. Holy shit. Holy shit. How am I gonna fit all this stuff into my house?
And I think that a lot of people wanted to know if that was always our plan, or like what.
I don't think we had a plan. We just kind of did what we felt we should do. Yeah, I got a degree in Australia. I was like, well, if I'm moving to Canada, I better have a bachelor degree.
He graduated, and then a week later we moved to Canada. That was a lot going on in that 2-month period. That was a very stressful time.
Then we moved to Vancouver.
Yeah, he did another course in school.
Yeah.
He got a diploma program under his belt.
Mhm.
He's a very learned man, you guys. I don't know if you know that about him, but he's a smart
Learned.
cookie.
Extremely
Learned.
learned.
I guess this leads basically into the engagement portion, which, okay, so the biggest thing for me is when you've been with somebody, if any of you have been with your partner for like long term, and you've spoken about getting married, you probably know that at some point they're gonna ask the question, right? So it wasn't like it was a massive, massive surprise that he was going to ask me, because we've talked about it a lot before. But I was not expecting it on your birthday at all.
That's why
Like,
I did it.
at all. I came home from Bali and Glen had said, hey, like for my birthday, I booked an Airbnb up at Silver Star, where we first met all those years ago. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, because like we love going up to Silver Star. It's such a fun mountain. We love doing snowshoeing or skiing or whatever up there. And so I just thought, like, what a nice thing for his birthday. Like, he planned something for his own birthday. This is great. I don't have to plan it. Woo! And yeah, so we packed up for the night, and that's kind of where we left you guys with our story. How'd you choose the ring? How'd you know?
She has a Pinterest album full of rings that she's been
Into
casually accumulating like for the last 3 years.
At
Like a
least.
couple of times I'd get tagged in a ring and I'm like, so like I just kind of like mixed them all together and tried to make one that was like really similar to what was going on in her profile page there. So yeah, I got the ring, and it was like at the end of our trip. We went snowshoeing and went out to dinner and did a bunch of things, and then we were just about to leave. And then I put the camera down on the post. I'm like, hey, let's just end this little vlog thing we've been filming and let's just dance in the picture. Let's just do something stupid.
And we get B-roll all the time,
Right.
right? So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like, cool, can you do this? Walk this way and look at the camera. Or, I don't know, it's just such a normal thing to do. So yeah, he set it down, and here's what happened.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors.
I was so surprised, and I thought that was
Very
such a funny time to do it, because your
Right.
birthday is typically about you, and you made your
Right.
birthday about us, and
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Well, you were my gift.
Thanks, baby.
Lame.
Basically, the first thing that I said afterwards was like, oh my god, did you ask my parents?
Yeah,
like, am I allowed?
straight away. And she's like, you like me that much? And you didn't even look at the ring. Like I had the ring up and you were just like looking at me.
Because I was like holding on to
Yeah.
his face, and he like, you can see in the video, he like pushes me backwards to like show the ring to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm just so happy that you asked me. it was a super happy day, and we kept it to ourselves for
the weekend. Yeah.
We told our really close friends, and like we had a really great time giving everybody a FaceTime call, and that to me was a highlight of our year. Yeah. I thought it was so cool how many people were happy for us, and like all of you guys like leaving comments and liking our photo when we did announce it. I don't know. I just felt so loved, and I thought that was a really, really nice feeling to feel that support.
Does anyone have questions?
Yeah.
Is there any questions around here?
Any questions in the house? Okay, so I asked you guys, I asked you guys on Instagram stories if you had any questions. So we're gonna answer a couple of your questions. Have you figured out where you want to get married, and if so, what's the theme and vibe that you want?
The original plan was hoping Hawaii, because it's like halfway between Australia and here. Makes sense for like both families to come together. But I mean, it's like so expensive for everyone involved if we do that. Even for us, like.
And US dollar, like, oh man, it's just not favorable.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe. But we'll have to think about that more.
And like a theme, just simplicity, minimalism. I just think it would be probably pretty simple. I've never been like a big frilly wedding kind of person. People want to quickly know about like partnership visa and stuff like that. It
took me like maybe 6 months just to fill out the paperwork, and then I put it in and they said it would take like minimum 11 months, but I got super lucky. I think because I filled everything out perfectly and right. Went to see a lawyer a couple of times to make sure everything was good. And then it got approved in like 4 months.
So yeah, now you have your permanent residency, and I don't think anything changes when we get married. Obviously, we'll have to change like last names on the paperwork, because I'll probably be taking your last name. Probably not publicly. I'll still be Karissa Pukas publicly, but I'll be Karissa Gustard just for you.
Karissa Gustard.
Isn't that weird to think?
Very.
KG.
KG.
Will we ever move back to Australia?
Maybe. I didn't say no to anything. Like, anything's possible. If the fires have gone out.
I don't love the Australian government currently. It's a shit show.
I don't even think they love the
I don't
Australian
think
government.
that anybody loves that right now. So
Really
I don't know.
I don't know. I like it better here.
I like living
Way
here.
better.
It's Canada just is really, it's a special place. It really truly is. Who knows, like owning a vacation property or something like that in Australia would be just incredible. Hey.
Yeah.
Long-term plan.
Totally.
Have we ever had a threesome?
3 times. No, we have not.
I'm like, what? A lot of questions about how you felt about my implant and explant process. But honestly, I feel like let's save that for my explant video, so that we can have like an actual full in-depth conversation, because this is going to be super long if we get into that.
Quick answer, I didn't want to get them in, but looking back at how everything went down, she's helped so many people, so it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a silver lining there.
A lot of people wanted to know, have we ever separated and then got back together?
No, we never did that. It's kind of like, we didn't play those games.
Somebody asked, when did you first say I love you? And who said it first?
You said it first.
I've moved fast this whole relationship, guys. I just like ripped his pants off and got right in there. It was right after your 24th birthday. We threw like a Mexican themed birthday for Glenn for his birthday, and it was a surprise. And on his big birthday like poster card, I wrote "I love you" in Spanish, but obviously being Australian and not speaking Spanish, he didn't know that. And then later that night, I was kind of like I kind of want to I want to say it. And yeah, so I said it to you in bed, and he didn't say anything back. He just said, "I gotta go get something."
What?
Yeah, do you remember this? And then you went outside to your car, and you had a note or something that said Karissa Pukas, I love you. And he's like, I've had this in my glove box for like
because I was gonna give it to you like when I left, like ages before that, when I left Canada, like after we'd been dating for 2 months in Canada and then had to go back. I was gonna tell you there, but I got scared and then I didn't.
I couldn't believe that, but yeah, so
I kept it in there.
He left me hanging, and then he comes back inside.
So you're like, did he just run away after I told him that? God, I'm funny.
You know what though? It's just funny because like I feel like over the past probably 4 or 5 years, after you tried psychedelics for the first time and after you started meditating, you are a elevated version of yourself. You really are. Is there a favorite date that you've ever taken me on and or I've taken you on? I was thinking about Port Douglas.
Oh, totally. Port Douglas.
I surprised Glenn with a trip
That was a good
up
one.
north to
Yeah.
Port Douglas, and we got massages, and we snorkeled the Great Barrier Reef. Well,
Yeah.
scuba dived, actually.
I didn't even know we were going on a plane. You're like, hey,
Drive me
I
to the
packed you a
airport.
bag. Let's go. Yeah, can you drive me?
And I also surprised you with the Blink tickets.
Oh, yeah. We were going to see Blink, and we had like nosebleed seats back in Australia. We get there, and she's like, oh, by the way, we've actually got VIP tickets. I didn't tell you we're going to go meet Mark and Tom right now. Travis wasn't there.
He just about
Couldn't
pooped his
play.
pants.
It's like, we're gonna meet them in 10 minutes. Like, let's go. Like, what? And like, I was like, Tom DeLonge was like my idol. I was like so nervous. I don't even know what the hell I said to him.
Just
Whatever I
blabbed.
said was just mess.
But it was the cutest thing in the world.
But that was crazy.
It was a pretty good date.
Yeah.
The last question is, what do you love the most about me? We'll leave it on something sappy and sweet.
I love how honest you are with everything. Like, I don't have to guess what's going on in your head ever, because you probably say a little bit too much all the time. Which is kind of great for me, because like I don't have to be like, why are you mad? Like what's the matter? You'll just tell me why you're frustrated or why you're upset. And
I would never give you silent treatment. I don't think
Yeah.
I physically could, but
yeah, and you overspeak the truth about everything that's happening, and there's just so much, like there's a level of trust that I've never really felt before, and it's, I don't know, it's cool. Makes me respect you a lot.
thanks, baby. Lay it on me. Tell me more.
And you're super pretty.
Me?
Yeah.
My favorite thing / what I love about you the most, and I've said this probably in every single thing that I've ever been asked, this is how kind you are.
Thank you.
Glenn is one of the most genuine and generous people with everything. I don't even know how else to explain it. Like, he would give the shirt off your back if anyone needed it, in any situation, in any sense, of
think
any
I've done that
person.
before.
He has done that before. He's given glasses, like sunglasses, to people when they're like sitting on the opposite side of the table, and he's like, oh, you can have my glasses. Here, there's sun in your face. Like, you don't hesitate at all to jump in and make somebody else's life better. Like, a good example, when we were driving back from Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, there was a stray dog that ran onto the highway, and the first thing that Glenn did was figure out how we can save this dog. And like, all of these cars, like massive amounts of traffic, are trying to like get to their day and like go about their day, and Glenn is out of our vehicle running down the middle of the highway to chase this dog, to get this dog, and he got the dog. And you don't even think for a second about like the consequence of like, oh my god, get out. Like, you don't even think about that. You're very selfless, and you're very kind, and I just think that that's such a beautiful trait, and I think that anybody that knows you would say the same, that you're just such a sweetheart. And I'm just so grateful. I'm gonna start crying. Oh, now I'm all teary, and we have to finish the video.
Okay.
Well, anyways, we are officially engaged. This is where we're gonna leave you guys. I hope that you enjoyed and learned a little bit more about us and our relationship, and I hope that answered your questions. And yeah, I guess that's it from me. Do you have anything else to say?
Nope, just that word I learned yesterday. What was it?
He learned 2 new words. Hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo. Is that how you use it?
And rigmarole.
Rigmarole. Rigmarole out.
That's not it at all, but I love it. Okay. Please like this video. Don't forget to leave us a comment, and I will see you guys in the next video very soon. Bye.